The Insta360 Ace Pro could have been one of the best action cameras on the market if it wasn't for this huge, massive, ginormous, mastodontic flaw. The image quality is probably one of the best. I think it could be kind of slightly compared to the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, although that's not an action cam. Personally, I don't have a GoPro or the latest DJI action camera, but from what I've seen online and from my experience, that the quality on the Ace Pro is pretty darn good. The 8K actually makes a difference. 8 fucking K in that little small thing. Can you imagine that? And it has the Leica lens, which is a pretty reputable company, and if they allow it to put, you know, their name on a brand, then it means they actually care about it and they believe in it, basically. Now, the thing that intrigued me at first was this AI features and the fact that it could reduce noise in low light situations inside the camera. The YouTube community in the beginning were making reviews where they were showing, oh, look how good it is, oh my god, this is so cool, and I was intrigued by it, so I said, why the fuck not? And on paper, everything looks so cool, you know, have fantastic stabilization in all their cameras, looks awesome, perfect, good. You have different modes to shoot in, but, and this is a big but, for a camera that is oriented towards vloggers and content creators, not only action sports, I find it very weird that the focusing distance is set to 12 inches or 60 centimeters. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Why would you create a vlogging camera that focuses like at this kind of length? Anyway, this is what 60 centimeters looks like, okay? So I would have to hold it like this, more or less, you know, kind of like this, which is, I don't know, you know? Why can't I just hold it like this something? Why do I have to go like this, you know, be like, oh, hey, this is me vlogging, so you can see my whole arm in it. Yeah, okay, so this is 20, which is so out of focus, 30, which is definitely out of focus still, 40 starts to be a little bit more in focus, but I think where we are in focus, like in between 40 and 50. Yeah. The thing is, am I in focus right now? I don't know. Is this 40 centimeters? Or is this 40 centimeters? Like, sometimes I would like to be in focus like this distance, but I know I'm not in focus when I'm like this. Because this is what? It's again, give or take. This is like 36 to 40, kind of. You know? I think I'm more like here, I'm in focus. Why would you create a vlogging camera with a flip out screen so I can see myself blurry unless I'm like this? Even people with long arms might have a problem with it. I mean, yes, you can buy the Insta360 tripod, you can use another tripod, for example, like this. You can also use the invisible stick if you really wanted to, with like an adapter here, and you can, you know, do this, but sometimes I just want to pull out the camera from my pocket and start shooting. The fact that I have to carry with me one of these, admittedly is not big and it wouldn't take that much space, but I don't know, it just fucking bothers me. You're saying that this is a vlogging camera and it's got cool features, and AI f2.8 lens from Leica and everything cannot focus. What the fuck? If I wanted to carry a mini tripod with me, I would just take the X-H2S and vlog with it. If I honestly wanted to bring a tripod with me, I would bring the X-H2S right here, you know, and it would be much better. Still, like, you know, more or less same inconvenience, I would say, just like this. I could even hold the X-H2S with my hand with the 16 to 55 or even the 23, and I can vlog with it. No issue there. This camera was supposed to make things easier and, you know, enjoyable, not give a fuck. Just go around, take a camera out and use it for action, use it to document your life, using it to party or whatever. And it's not. It's fucking not. And I do understand that it has a bigger sensor and it has an f2.8 Leica lens, so the focusing distance must be set at some point. But I would rather sacrifice the f2.8 for the sake of being able to focus closer. Put it f4, put it f3.5, I don't give a shit. Just make it focus at 20 to 30 centimeters like all the other action cams. Anyway, after this short rant, I actually found the solution. Well, I didn't find the solution. Josh from Make Art Now found the solution. So basically you would have to use a diopter, ideally a +2 or +4 for vlogging. In order to put the diopter on the camera, you would have to use an adapter, and that adapter does not exist. Well, it does exist, but only in the form of a 3D printed mount. So Make Art Now made it available. It is on his website, link in the description. You can download that, print it for yourself, and mount the diopter. But that's an extra thing that you have to go and do in order for you to be in focus. Plus, who has a 3D printer? I mean, I have a friend that has a 3D printer and he helped me out, but maybe you don't have a friend with a 3D printer. I've never 3D printed in my life. I'm not interested in that. It is another extra step that you have to go through, and it makes life a little bit more difficult. I know, for example, that Insta360 is making those ND filters for the Insta360 Ace Pro. Maybe they could create a diopter to put on top and be like, This takes me to another thing. The glass cover of the lens cannot be removed. If you by mistake crack it, scratch it, because it's an action camera and you take it anywhere really, you cannot change it yourself. You have to send it back to Insta360 to China, and they will do it for free for the first year, but you have to pay for the shipping. Again, why do you do that? GoPro simply allows you to remove that and to put another one.
Actually, you can. You just need a thing like this mount to twist. See? And yeah, you kind of can. It's just attached with some glue here, and that's that. But honestly, they just want you, like, if you crack this a little bit, basically you would have to send it back to China and pay like 20 euros, 30 euros, whatever it costs for shipping, and they would just remove it and put another one for you. It's like, why would you do that to your clients? I don't know.
So far I have only talked shit about this camera, but if you get over the fact that it cannot focus closer than 60 centimeters, yeah, this camera is a fucking powerhouse. 8K up to 24 frames per second. I don't know why 24 and not 25 as well, but 8K 24 frames per second is pretty damn good. It looks good, it's fucking awesome, especially if you shoot in log and then you kind of get a little bit more flexibility. It also shoots 4K up to 120 frames per second. I would stop somewhere at 60 frames per second, but you got 120, which looks pretty decent. Really cool feature, really nice, especially if you're shooting splashes with water or something like that. I don't know, explosions, sand. There's also the fact that you can zoom in by double tapping on the screen and it will zoom in, but you won't lose the 4K. It will still be in 4K. That's a really cool feature to have. You have 3 modes to shoot in. You have the classical video, you have the free frame, and then you have the PureShot AI. PureShot is basically their AI doing its magic and reducing the noise in low light directly in camera, and it does a great job compared to other action cameras on the market. That's where this camera shines. That was one of their main selling points, and that's what they pushed online and on YouTube, and in every YouTuber reviewer. And then there is free frame, which basically is a way in which you can reframe what you've shot in Insta360 app. You can make it vertical, you can make it 4:3, you can make it 1:1, you can make it 16:9. In that way you can also use horizon leveling, which basically means that if you turn the camera around, upside down, the image will stay leveled. I have turned on the horizon lock, so now whatever I do, it should be like, even if I turn it this way, it shouldn't turn, it should be stuck. Admittedly, that comes with a huge crop, I have turned on the horizon lock, so now whatever I do, it should be like, even if I turn it this way, it shouldn't turn, it should be stuck at the same level. But it is a feature. Also, you can do that 360 or 45 degrees, which is, you know, when you incline it a little bit this way, it won't have that much of a crop. Another thing that this camera has, I wish this feature was available on all cameras. Basically, having the possibility to cancel a video while shooting it. So if I started shooting something and I don't really like it, I definitely won't like it, I can press and hold the record button and it will delete that recording. Say for example, you put the camera in the pocket and by mistake you started recording and it's all black, and then you realize and you pull it out and you're like, oh, it's been running for 5 minutes. Keep pressed and it will delete it automatically. You don't have to go back in the menu, you don't have to, you know, download the footage and go through all the footage. It's like, oh, perfect. And see, it's not a bad camera, you know, on paper is the best. It's just, it's got this weird little focusing thing that fucking drives me nuts, but it's not bad. Do I regret buying it? Yes, kind of. Yeah, man, I kind of regret buying it. I bought this camera because of gear acquisition syndrome. The AI features, the YouTube reviews praising this camera when it came out, my urge to get the latest and greatest fucking piece of equipment, the fact that I would tell myself that I would use this camera on jobs with clients, that I would make YouTube videos about it, and, you know, I would have a return on investment kind of thing. I did use it for a couple of clients. I took it with me to kind of, you know, document my day. I also shot some POV kind of style shots. I don't feel like I've been using this camera enough to justify buying it. I usually have a good intuition when it comes to buying gear. I buy a piece of equipment and then I actually use it and then I make YouTube videos about it, so it kind of makes sense, you know. I use it for clients, it makes sense, then I get money back, so, you know, overall works out. But with this one, dude, I feel like, you know, it doesn't really satisfy me enough to justify it like personally. I don't use it enough for work. I haven't been really making a YouTube video about it, and I got it in December 2023. I started making a YouTube video and, I mean, never ended. Overall, if you don't have any other camera and you would like to pick this up to, you know, document your travels, or maybe like a skater or an action person, BMX, I don't know, whatever, and you are looking for something, this could be an interesting option, but you have to keep in mind the fact that it focuses only after 60 centimeters or 12 inches. So I suppose that if your main focus is not vlogging, then probably it makes sense. It's a very solid piece of equipment. And I can see this being used in scenarios where you mount this camera somewhere on a tree, or you mount it on somebody's chest or hands, arms, something like that, and you want like the POV kind of style of shot, and you mount it on a skateboard or, I don't know, whatever. You know, it doesn't make sense to have a flip out screen. I don't know. I mean, it's easier to set up a scene if you have the flip out screen, but then again, at the same time, it makes the camera more fragile with the screen open. What to do with this camera? I don't know. I really don't know. That's why I'm a little bit torn, and I would like to ask you, like, where do you see this camera being useful? Give me more comments. Give me some positivity in the comments, because at the moment I'm kind of like, oh, fuck this shit. I am trying to be as positive as I can, but I don't know. Anyway, this camera is not for everybody. I think that if you're mostly into like action sports like skiing or quadding, or I don't know, you go on boat, or you just drive bikes, or you do parkour or something like that, and you don't really need to see yourself or to shoot some sort of content and not any close-ups or anything, then probably this camera is pretty good. Otherwise, I don't know. Otherwise, if you buy this camera for vlog first camera, not action content first camera, then I suppose it's better not to fucking buy it at all. Honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't even fucking matter if this camera focuses at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever. Even if you watch this video and you're like, oh my god, he's so out of focus, like, well, who the fuck cares at the end of the day? If the content is like, you know, educational, entertaining, whatever, it's gonna be good. What bothers me right now, I just realized this and I was thinking about it. What bothers me is the fact that the company kind of lied to people. You know, it's like, oh, this camera is the next vlogging camera, you know, you're not gonna need anything else, like a whatever flip out screen, it focuses at 40 centimeters. I don't know, man. I don't know. Overall, I'm not happy with it. I haven't been using it, and yeah. If anybody in Belgium is interested, I'm selling it, especially in Brussels. DM me.